sand and turn these walls I've built into rubble. God, I need you now. God, I'm crying out. Let your love come crashing down, fall just like the rain washing over my heart. Mercy like a wave, there's power in the name of Jesus. Let your love come crashing down, build me up and teach me how to stand on the solid rock that lasts forever. God, I need you now. God, I'm crying out. Let your love come crashing down, fall just like the rain washing over my heart. Mercy like a wave, there's power in the name of Jesus. Jesus, I know that I can trust your heart, even when my world is torn apart. Let your love come crashing down. All I am is in your hands. Let your love come crashing down, fall just like the rain washing over my heart. Mercy like a wave, there's power in the name of Jesus. Of Jesus. Of Jesus. Let your love come crashing down. Let your love come crashing down. Come and wreck this castle in the sand, and turn these walls I've built into rubble. God, I need you now. God, I'm crying out. Let your love come crashing down, fall just like the rain washing over my heart. Mercy like a wave, there's power in the name of Jesus. Let your love come crashing down, build me up and teach me how to stand on the side.
That's the problem when you put a slideshow together, is I wasn't sure if I'd be able to talk afterwards. I spent the last 2 days going through hundreds of photos trying to figure out which ones to pick, and how do you describe a house build in a matter of moments. And in a moment, I'm going to call up our team. But just if you're visiting or new with us, some history about our trip to Mexico. For almost 20 years, we have been traveling to Mexico, first by bus. And we would leave over spring break by bus and drive nonstop to San Diego, stay the night, and then drive the rest of the way down the Baja of Mexico, build a house in 4 or 5 days, and then repeat, drive home, and it was a long drive home usually. And over the years, we've driven, we've flown, and now pretty much all the groups fly. And that was fine until this year. And this year, we ran into some complications. One, the price of flights have gone up drastically over the years. Two, there are some issues around border crossings and TSA and cartel in Mexico, and so there was some doubt whether or not we would go. Thankfully, everybody was on board. We prayed about it, and we were ready to go. All of our plane tickets were paid for. Our fundraising was met, and we decided to go. And so we went. There were 6 of us from the church here. There was 3 from Live Different that was on a public build, and then there was a group from McBride and Valemont, a high school group with their principal that joined us. So our group got bigger the further south we went, and we met the McBride group actually in Mexico. They flew a very difficult route because the school board would not allow them to fly into the United States, and so they flew from Prince George. They drove to Prince George, flew from Prince George to Vancouver, to Calgary, to Mexico City, to Tijuana, and then they drove 4 hours south down the Baja to get there. And their price of the ticket, airplane ticket, was a lot more than ours. Thankfully, we just had to fly from here to Kelowna to Seattle to San Diego, and then drove the rest of the way. And despite all of the news and all the chaos in our world, we were able to do so without any issues. No issues crossing the borders, no issues at the airports, no delays, no lost luggage. Everything worked out as smoothly as it could possibly work out. All the way there, all the way during our build days, and all the way home. And so we were a big group, 26 of us in total, working on one house. We built it in 4 days, and it may not seem like a whole lot to us, but from what the family was living in, and we got to experience what the family was living in, it was a one room. Well, it was one room, I'll just say that. There was concrete on the ground. There were 4 walls, but the kitchen, the bedroom, and all the living stuff was in one tiny room. And that was on their parents' or grandparents' property, and they were so excited to have their own house. And the mom is pregnant. She's due in a month, so they will have 3 children in a month, and to have separate bedrooms and a living space and electricity through a solar panel. It was amazing just to be able to work alongside them. And they worked every day with us. Iban took the whole week off of work so that he could come and build with us. And so it was exciting to see and participate in. And every build that we've done is unique and different, and this one was no exception. The kids did an amazing job. They all worked along together, even though we didn't know each other. Everybody pitched in and helped, and so it was a great trip. And I'm going to invite the team up. They're going to share a little bit about their experience, and I asked them to respond to one question. Come on up, Mike, and see what they're going to say, and then we'll go from there. So this is our team. Mike is our youngest volunteer. We have Lonnie and Haley and Ryan and Amy. Right there, Mike. Mike and I were travel partners, right?
Sleeping partners.
Sleeping partners. We looked after each other. He looked after me and I looked after him, and we got along just fine. So I asked them one question that they could think of this morning, and what was the most impactful part of the trip? Of all the things that we were able to do and experience, what was, if they could sum it up in a few sentences, and then I might surprise them with a few more questions as we go. Do you want to start, Mike?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Yeah, just looking.
Is that on? We just want to make sure it's on. Okay, you're good.
Just looking at this video here today, I'm just getting choked up again. We're getting pretty emotional about the whole thing.
Oh, hold it closer. You got to eat it.
Like that?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Yeah, so the 4 days, it was quite phenomenal with all the teenagers, and they were just a very good team effort the whole way. There's no arguing, there's no fighting, there's nothing. It was just total cooperation. Anytime they wanted something they didn't know about, they'd ask us, and then, you know, we'd tell them if they were doing something wrong, we'd help them. But the best part for me, I think after the 4 days, was the dedication. On the 5th day, you know, there's probably 30 or more in that circle. We all asked to share what we felt through the 4 or 5 days we were there. And then after that, the family, they spoke as well. And we presented the house to them, and they weren't allowed to go in until all this was done. And they went in. But before I say that, in the morning of that day, we went and got mattresses and bed frames and benches and tables and countertop and groceries and also pots and pans and everything for them. So, you know, got blankets for them as well. And this is something they were not expecting none of this. So when they opened that door, I think it was Allison screaming, "Oh, look at this, look at this!" Yeah, they were just totally awestruck by the whole thing, you know. And that is the very best for me anyway. I don't know about the rest of you, but you know. And yeah, so it was good to go down there and work with Jesus, serve him, and serve the family. It was great. With delight and pleasure, we did that. So,
all right, so I kind of felt led to say something else, but I can't YOLO it, as Haley says. I need to write everything down. So, firstly, I want to say a huge thank you to everyone who made this trip possible, to everyone who donated items or helped with the garage sale, every person who helped make or bought apple crisps, every person who baked or bought goodies at the bake sale, every person who donated funds either through the envelopes or on their own, and every person who took the time to send up a prayer for us. Thank you. This trip would not have been possible without you, and lives were changed because of you. There's always so much that one can talk about after coming back from a trip like this. Last time I talked about my expected plan for the trip and how I'm sure God was laughing every step of the way, because he has a plan of his own, and we all know that that is a plan that's going to happen. Despite my planning, God used me how he saw fit. This time I want to talk about the 5 amazing people who took this trip with me and how incredibly proud I am of each and every one of them. Let's start with Mike. It was mentioned at one point that he is one of the most age-advanced people to take part in the build. Not just this build, but of all the builds that one of the leads had taken part in, which is a lot. Mike kept pace with kids who were a quarter his age and even outworked some of them. But he also took the time to impart the wisdom that only age can bring and share it with kids who were there. There was one photo from this trip, it wasn't in the slide, but it was of Mike hammering a nail into a board, and there were 2 of the boys hunched over watching him intently. And it was one of my favorite photos of Mike because it says so much. Ryan stepped out of his comfort zone so much on this trip. First time on a plane, first time out of Canada. I wish I had a list of all the new foods that this kid tried. It would probably be as long as my arm. I still hope one day he learns to love avocados, though. Because tacos with guac are in a league of their own. He took the toilet paper situation in stride. If you don't know about the toilet paper situation, talk to me after. And he conquered a fear. Despite his fear of heights, he climbed up on that roof and helped make sure it was secure and safe for the family to be able to live in their home. Clark did so much on this trip. Not just on the trip, but well before it too. He spent precious time coordinating with Live Different and Derek from Valemont Group. He organized and booked flights from Kelowna to San Diego. He led the charge on fundraising and getting our funds into Live Different. He led this group even with everything else he had going on in his personal life. And on the trip, he did a little bit of everything. Painting, building, carrying electricity for the house we built, which became incredibly significant on a day we weren't even there. The thing to know about the area that we built in is that they don't currently have water or electricity. Live Different opted to put in the wiring for future use when one day electricity would get out there. But because God has other plans, we ended up not having to pay the tourist fee at the border, and we took those excess funds, and with the help of a public build member, we were able to buy that solar panel you saw, and on the second day of being in their home, they had electricity. Amy was such a trooper. She is a very calm traveler, which I appreciate because I am not. Her steady presence was such a blessing. When it came to the build, she was up for anything, and I mean anything. From painting to hammering to cutting, she did it all. This woman built a wall. Yes, a wall. I have photo evidence. So Chris, she's ready for any future home renovations. She was also convinced to use a circular saw. Despite her protest and the uneven ground we had to work on, she got the job done. I am so proud to have been on this build with her. I can't not be incredibly proud of my daughter, Haley. I know what a force she can be when she has a goal, and this trip just reinforced it. She had her fingers in everything. She measured every 2x4 that was cut on the first day. She painted for hours on end and became one of the 2 girls called upon to close the paint buckets at the end of the day. She crawled up on the roof without hesitation and helped secure the shingles. She bunked in a room with 5 other girls she didn't know at the start of the trip and became friends with each and every one of them by the end. Before this trip was even over, she was already talking about doing another one. Proud mama moment right here. I am so proud of this group for giving their time and energy to make this trip a reality. To Ryan and Haley for giving up their spring break to make someone else's life just a little bit better. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of this team and for the memories we made that I will cherish for the rest of my life.
For me, it was being able to see like the family receive the house at the end of the week, and when they first went in, they because we had a picture of all of us in front of the house. That was the first thing they noticed. It wasn't all the stuff we put in; it was the picture, which is yeah.
Let's see if I can still talk after Lonnie's. I know over the years I've heard so many of you stand up here and talk about your trips, so I thought I had some idea of what to anticipate, but I was very wrong. It was amazing in the best possible way. It was so much more than I could have ever anticipated. Thanks to everybody in our group and the other groups, and Live Different and the staff. It was an incredible blessing to be able to connect not only with the family we were building for, but a number of other families in the area that have previously received houses, and reflecting on it as we were meeting these different families, and while our lives and our opportunities and jobs are very different, at the end of the day, we're all just trying to do the best with what we can, and that is what they're doing as well. And even though we were there to serve and to give, at every opportunity, they wanted to give to us, and they wanted to serve us. And it's just such a blessing to have that kind of reciprocal respect. Also at the giving of the house. Words aren't my strong suit, and as we're standing there in the circle, and my tear-filled eyes met the tear-filled eyes of the mom who was receiving a home, at that moment, words weren't necessary. That communication and that connection was there, even though we didn't share a common language. It was very emotional and special.
Yeah. Thank you.
My favorite moment on this trip was probably being up on the roof. It was amazing to be up there and kind of face the fear that I have, because climbing down the ladder scared me more than being on the roof. And it was amazing to see how Allison, the little girl in the family, really wanted to go up on the roof, but at the beginning of the day, she she was scared to, and by the afternoon she was up there, and in one of the pictures she was play fighting with one of the boys on her on the build team, and it was amazing to see how brave she was and how willing she was to do that, and just how the entire family really wanted to help build their house. And Brian, their little kid, their little boy, was amazing to play with after the builds, before we went home. And he just had so much energy and the most amazing giggle ever. Victor Yvonne, he did everything, and he was doing everything to help build this house for his family. We were on the roof, and our translator asked Isbaidi, the mother, if she wasn't pregnant, would she be on that roof? And Isbaidi said yes. And she wasn't really worried about Allison being up there because she knew we were all up there with her and that we would be up there to protect her.
So we've been home since Thursday night, late, 11-ish, that's late for some of us. Besides being able to drink water out of the tap and brush your teeth with water out of the tap and flushing toilet paper, those are big things that you don't do in Mexico, in the area that we were at. What have you noticed that you've kind of assessed since you've been home? Things that you've decided, I don't need to do that anymore, or things that you just recognize as, different from when you left? Anybody want to share about that?
Just glad to have a proper bed to sleep in.
Yeah.
But also, just thinking about the staff and how special they are, how hardworking they were, how they took care of us. Like the cook, Anna, she probably started about 6 or 7 in the morning, and she was still at it at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night. She didn't leave until after 8. Just amazing girl. And then Angelina, interpreter, amazing girl too, and helping us all. And Elias, quite interesting what happened there. Because I took down a pair of steel-toed boots, very heavy, and I wore them the first day. And that was too much because it's pretty hilly there. So I gave them to Elias. I don't think he took them off. I think he even slept with them. He went on this long hike as well with Clark and some other people, and he wore those boots on the hike.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's probably more than I should be saying right now. So.
I think it's one thing that stood out last time, and it stood out again this time, just the excess in our homes. Like Haley and I were going through my closet last night because I was like, oh, I feel like I have too much. So that's one thing that really stood out to me. And then just another thing that stood out when every time we went to one of these places, like the one place we went, we were digging the trench. And this family was so excited to have us there, and the kids were like, well, we want to go to the corner store. And so I was like, okay, they want to go get a treat. Well, they wanted to go get a bag of chips so that they could share it with us to thank us for being there and digging the trench for them, and just how little they have, but how giving their hearts are, and just how I can translate that into my life.
You stole what I was going to say. The one day at lunch, we had bags of chips we could have with our lunch, and somebody brought a bag back for Allison, and the first thing that she did when she got it is she opened it and she started offering it to all the team members, and that was amazing to see how even though it was something somebody gave to her, she still wanted to offer it to everyone else first. And then I went on my house visit that afternoon, and the little girl at that house did the exact same thing, and it's amazing to see just how much they want to give. Because I feel like people nowadays are like, no, I don't want to give this to somebody because somebody already gave it to me. And how some people can be really greedy with stuff like that. And it was amazing to see how the first thing on their mind was, I want to offer this to the people who are here.
Something nice about coming back, the mattresses there are 6 feet and 6'1", so being able to sleep in a mattress that actually fits me. Also, what Haley said, getting down the ladder is the worst part.
Yeah, just reflecting as I go around my house, getting my laundry, into the washing machine, and being able to just throw it in there, and then into the dryer. Just walk into a room, flip on the lights. Yeah, it's just reminders of things that we can take for granted because they're there always, and that just a reminder that not everybody, even in our own community, has those blessings, and just to be aware that there are many out there that don't have the same things that we have.
I just want to say thank you to this amazing team for trusting and going and working, traveling. All of those things are not easy these days, but they did it without a hesitation. They trusted me to book flights for them, which worked out really well, and we made it there and back. But it was an amazing group to join 2 other groups and to everybody get along and work together. That doesn't always happen, but everybody just pitched in and helped, and we actually pretty well finished the house in 3 days. We had to slow people down, which is why we sent people to dig a trench for a half a day, because we were running out of things to do. And then to have like Lonnie said, we had a little bit of money left over because they were asking us to pay for a tourist visa for being in the country for 8 days, and we were actually only in the country for 7. So they said, that's fine, you don't have to pay. But you didn't know that until you got to the border in Mexico. And so we had $300 US sitting there. We're kind of like, well, we could take it home, we could go out for dinner. And then we started looking into what a solar panel would cost. And you used to be able to buy them yourself and do it all yourself. They don't do that anymore, as they hire a company to do. And so I have a picture of what it costs in pesos. And the cheapest one was about 5,000 pesos, and then they went up from there to 40,000 pesos, and you're thinking, how much money could that be? So we landed on one that was 8,500 pesos, which was about $500 American, which is not cheap when you look at the Canadian dollar. But we decided to throw our 300 American in, and some other people pitched in and were able to pay that. And then as we were coming home, we were actually on the road to back to San Diego when the solar panel was installed, and we got to see pictures of the lights on and everything working just fine, which, I mean, they trusted me to wire some of that, so I don't know. But it was great to be able to see, because that was Allison, their daughter. She's 12. She was quite concerned that she wouldn't have power in her new house. So typically you don't have power, you don't have running water, you use an outhouse, your shower's outside. All those things are pretty standard for that area of Mexico. And so for them to have a solar panel was amazing. Even just to have light for a couple hours in the evening, to be able to charge a cell phone was amazing. So thank you for your support. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you for traveling and building a house. And it was fun. It was fun. Yeah. Mike got a really good tan. And that's a bonus, right? So thank you all. 9. Oh, she's 9, not 12. There you go. Mike always kept me in line, especially when we had to be up early in the morning. So, yeah. Just one thought as we invite the worship team forward. We were, one of the gentlemen that came, he just randomly showed up on the work site every day. We didn't know him. He wasn't part of the build. He wasn't part of the family, but he was there, willing to do whatever he could. And they found out that he didn't have a pair of shoes. Now think about that. Mike, how old was he? 15, 16, 14? 14. Never owned a pair of shoes. Had a pair of flip-flops on, and they said, Live Different said, you can't come on the work site without a pair of shoes. Well, he stayed anyway, and he was there every day. And so finally, Derek, the principal in Valemount, said, I'll just buy him a pair of shoes. Well, what size of shoe do you need? No idea. So we ended up tracing his foot on a cardboard piece of paper and took it to the shoe store and tried to figure out how to buy a pair of shoes that we didn't know what size to. Anyway, we never saw him after that day. We have a brand new pair of shoes sitting there for him, but we don't know how to get a hold of him. And just those things are just everyday occurrences in Mexico, and they're endless. So the next time you're in the grocery store and you go to buy strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, blackberries, they probably come from that area, from the San Quintin Valley. It is a valley of fruit, and everybody is connected to farming. So there's hundreds of acres of strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, and they are very delicious. They make very minimum wage to work there, but it is some of the best jobs that they could have in the area. And more people are moving to this area because there are not jobs other places. And so we want to keep building and growing the communities down there. Live Different's down there all the time. They have great staff. And so we're looking forward to another build at some point in the future. So thank you for your support, and I'll hand it to the praise team.